Hello students, welcome to the Java class. In this video we are going to see Java collection. So before seeing what is a collection, we need to see what is the need for collections. So why exactly the collection concept is required, that thing we need to see. So to explain that, I will take one small example. So if I want to store one integer value, what I should do? I should create one integer variable. So int a is equal to 10. By this way I can store one integer value. Next, if I want to store two integer values, what I should do? I should create one more integer variable. So int b is equal to 20. Next, if I want to store three integer values or three integer data, I can happily create one more integer variable. Int c is equal to 30. Next, if I want to store 10,000 integer values, what I should do? I should create 10,000 integer variables. So is this recommended? This is not recommended. Why it is not recommended? Because it decreases the readability of the program. So creating 10,000 variables is not at all recommended. Why? Because it decreases the readability of the program. Then what is the solution for that? The solution is arrays. The solution for that problem is arrays. So what is an array? What is an array? An array is an indexed collection of fixed number of homogeneous data elements. An array is an indexed collection of fixed number of homogeneous data elements. So these are index will start with 0, 1, 2 up to some n. Okay, an array is an index collection of fixed number of homogeneous data elements. So what is the biggest advantages of an array? The main advantages of an array is by using single variable name we can represent multiple values. By using single variable name we can represent multiple values so that the readability of the code will be improved. So now I am going to place definition of this array. So what is the definition of an array? Array is an indexed collection of fixed number of homogeneous data elements. So what is the main advantages of an array? The main advantages of an array is using a single variable name we can represent multiple values so that the readability of the code will be improved. So this is the advantages of an array. So what is the disadvantages of an array? So what is the first disadvantages of an array? In the definition itself you can see the disadvantages. So what is the first disadvantage? The first disadvantage is array is fixed in size. So once we create an array, there is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size of an array based on our requirement. So due to this, we should know the size of an array in advance. So in advance only we should know what is the size of an array, because we can't increase or decrease the size of an array. So we shall see disadvantages of an array. Disadvantages of an arrays. Disadvantages of arrays. So what is the first disadvantage? Array is fixed in size. So since array is fixed in size, we cannot increase or decrease the size of an array. Once we create an array, we cannot increase or decrease the size of an array. So compulsory we should know the size of an array in advance, which may be not possible always. So this is the first disadvantage. So what is the second disadvantages of an array? The second disadvantages of an array is array can hold only homogeneous data elements. So array can hold only homogeneous data elements. Can hold only homogeneous data and elements. So array can hold only similar type of data elements. It cannot hold heterogeneous data elements. Say for example, I will create an array of student object. Student s is equal to new student of say 10,000. So what I'm creating? I'm creating an array of student object. Next, s of 0 is equal to new student. S of 0 is equal to new student. Is this valid? Yes, this is valid because s is of type student and also the object is also type of student. Now I'm going to do s of 1 is equal to new customer. Is this valid? This is invalid because s is of type student but the object is of type customer, but an array can hold only homogeneous data elements. Here we can see heterogeneous data elements. This is invalid. So immediately compiler we are going to give compile time error. So what is the compile time error we are going to get? C stands for compile time error. Okay, what is the compile time error we are going to get? Incompatible types. Incompatible types found what? Found customer, but what is required? Required is student. So what are the second disadvantages of an array? The second disadvantages of an array is array can hold only homogeneous data elements. It cannot hold heterogeneous data element. So that is the second disadvantages of an array. So what is the third disadvantages of an array? The third disadvantages of an array is array concept is not implemented based on standard data structure. So no standard data structure support. Array is not implemented based on some standard data structure support. Since array is not implemented based on some standard data structure, we cannot use a ready-made methods. So ready-made method support is not available for an array. So array concept is not implemented based on some standard data structure, and hence ready-made method support, that is inbuilt method support, is not available in the case of array. So for every requirement we have to write our own code. For every requirement we have to write our own code explicitly. So this is the third disadvantages of an array. So what is the first disadvantages of an array? The first is array is fixed in size. That is, once we create an array, there is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size of an array. So that is the first disadvantage. What is the second one? The second one is array can hold only homogeneous data elements. It cannot hold heterogeneous data elements. What is the third disadvantage? The third disadvantage is arrays concept is not implemented based on some standard data structure, and hence inbuilt method support is not available. If we want to perform any operation, compulsory the programmer has to write the code, and which increases the complexity of the program. For example, the stack. So what are the predefined methods for stack? The predefined method for stack is push, pop, pick. So push is used to insert an element, pop is used to delete an element, pick is used to check what is there on the top of a stack. So these are the predefined elements which is there in the case of stack collection. But array is not implemented based on standard data structure. That is why there is no inbuilt method support. That is why programmer has to write the entire code that increases the complexity of the program. So that is the third disadvantages of an array. To overcome all these disadvantages, we should go for what? We should go for collection concept. So what is the first disadvantages of an array? The first disadvantage is array is fixed in size. Since array is fixed in size, what about collection? The collection is growable in nature. So array is fixed in size, but the collection is growable. So we can increase or decrease the size. Next, what is the second disadvantages of an array? The second disadvantages of an array is array can hold only homogeneous data elements, but collection can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous data element. It can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous data elements. Next, what is the third disadvantages of an array? In the case of an array, there is no standard data structure support. But in the case of collections, there is an underlying data structure support. In the case of collection, there is an underlying data structure support. So these are the advantages of collection. Advantages of collection. So to overcome the disadvantages of an array, we should go for what? We should go for collection concept. So what is the first advantage of collection over arrays? The first advantage is collections are growable in nature. That is, based on our requirement, we can increase or decrease the size of a collection. So what is the second advantage? The second advantage is the collection can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous data elements. So what is the third advantage? The third advantage is every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structures. So every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structures. Hence, for every requirement, a ready-made method is available. For every requirement, an inbuilt method is available. As a programmer, we are responsible to make use of those methods and we are not responsible to implement those methods. Is that clear? So, what is the third advantages of a collection? The third advantage is every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structures. Hence, for every requirement, a ready-made method support is available. For every requirement, an inbuilt method support is available. As a programmer, we are responsible to make use of those methods and we are not responsible to implement those methods. In this way, the complexity of the program will be decreased. Okay. So now, what is the disadvantage of a collection? So for every advantage, there should be a disadvantage, right? If a collection has an advantage, even collection should also have a disadvantage. So what is the disadvantage of a collection? So being a programmer, it is very, very important to note down what is the disadvantage of a collection. So consider this. Consider this is a list. So list is a type of a collection. Don't worry about this. I will teach later, okay? Consider this is a list and the size of a list is 10 and I've inserted 10 elements. So now the list is full. The size is 10 and I've inserted 10 elements. Now the list is full. Now my requirement is I want to add a 11th element. I want to add what? I want to add 11th element. 11th element. Is it possible to add a 11th element? Yes, it is possible because by nature collections are growable. The collections are growable by nature. So what happens if I try to add a 11th element? If I try to add a 11th element, a bigger list will be created. A bigger list will be created. Next, into this bigger list, the values of a previous list will be copied. Next, it will copy the first element, it will copy the second element, third element, fourth element, fifth, and so on, the 10th element. Next, this 11th element will be placed inside this newer list. Okay. Next step, what will happen? The reference is going to change from a previous list to the new list. The L, instead of pointing to the previous list, it will point to the new list. So how many operations are taking place? First one, it should create a bigger list. Second one, it should copy the contents. Third one, it should change the reference. So there are 3 steps. So what happens in this case? What about the performance? The performance is going to decrease. For example, if the list size is 1 crore, I want to add a 1 crore first element. What will happen? A bigger list will be created. Next, all the 1 crore elements should be copied into the bigger list. Next, 1 crore first element should be placed inside a bigger new list. Next, the reference should change from a previous list to the new list. And this list is now eligible for garbage collection. So garbage collection means it is eligible for deletion, removal, that's it. So what is the main disadvantages of a collection? The main disadvantages of a collection is it reduces the performance of a system. So collections are not recommended if you want to achieve performance. Yes, now we have to see the difference between arrays and collections. So what is the first difference? The first difference are arrays are fixed in size. That is, once we create an array, we cannot increase or decrease the size of an array based on our requirement. So what is with respect to collection? With respect to collection, collections are growable in nature. That is, based on our requirement, we can increase or decrease the size of the collections. So what is the second difference? The second difference is with respect to memory. With respect to memory, array concepts are not recommended to use because once we fix the size of an array, we cannot increase or decrease. But what about in the case of collections? In the case of collections, with respect to memory, collections are recommended to use because collections are growable in nature. It can grow. We can increase or decrease the size of the collections. So what is the third major difference? The third major difference is with respect to performance. Arrays are recommended. What about collections? In the case of collections, with respect to performance, collections are not recommended to use. You know that the reason just now we discussed. Next, what is the next difference? Arrays can hold only homogeneous data type elements. That is a major drawback of an arrays. What about with respect to collections? Collections can hold both homogeneous and heterogeneous data type elements. So what is the next difference? The next difference is there is no underlying data structures for arrays. So array doesn't implement any data structures and hence ready-made method support is not available in the case of arrays. For every requirement, we have to write our own code. We have to write our own method explicitly. So which increases the complexity of the programming. Next, what about in the case of collections? In the case of collections, every collection class is implemented based on some standard data structures and hence for every requirement a ready-made method support is available. For every requirement an inbuilt method support is available. So being a programmer, we can use these inbuilt methods directly and we are not responsible to implement those methods. We can use those methods but we are not responsible to implement those methods. Directly we can use those methods. And the sixth difference is, so this difference we have not discussed. What is the sixth difference? Arrays can hold both primitive values and object values. But what about in the case of collections? In the case of collections, the collections can hold only object values. It cannot hold primitive values. Okay. So what is the sixth difference? The sixth difference is arrays can hold both primitive and object values, that is int x. So this is a array example for primitive value. So this is a primitive, integer is a primitive, byte, short, int, long, float, double, character, boolean. So these are the primitive data types. So array can hold primitive values. Also array can hold what? Object references. So array can hold both primitive values and object references. But what about in the case of collections? In the case of collections, it can hold only object types. It cannot hold primitive types. So these are the 6 major differences between collections and arrays. So you can pause the video and you can note down the differences between arrays and collections. The next concept we have to see is what is collection. So what is a collection? Usually we say, right, a collection of cars, a collection of books, a collection of students, a collection of customers. So what is a collection? So consider this diagram, this figure. So in this figure, assume S1, S2, S3 are student objects. S1, S2, S3 up to S7. So totally there are 7 student objects which are grouped together into a single entity. The 7 students objects are grouped together into the single entity. These individual objects S1, S2, S3, S4 are the individual objects and we are grouping together those individual objects into the single entity. Now can you define what is a collection? So what is a collection? If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, you can see here. If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a whole single entity, then we should go for what? Then we should go for collections. If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we should go for collections. Okay. Next, the next terminology we need to learn is what is collection framework. So what is a collection framework? So collection framework consists of several classes and interfaces which can be used to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity. So what collection framework consists of? Collection framework consists of several classes and interfaces. This is a framework, and this framework consists of several classes and interfaces which can be used to represent these individual objects as a single entity. Okay, collection framework supports some classes and interfaces which can be used to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity. Those classes and objects we will see now. Now we are going to see the key interfaces of collection framework. So just now we have seen what is a collection framework. So what is collection framework? It consists of several classes and interfaces which can be used to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity. So totally there are 9 key interfaces or 9 important interfaces in collection framework. So what is the first interface? The first interface is collection. Next, the second interface is list. Next, the third one is set. Fourth one is sorted set. Next, the fifth one is navigable set. Next, we have a queue interface. Next, the map interface. Next, we have a sorted map. Next, we have a navigable map. So these are the 9 key interfaces of a collection framework. So in this chapter we are going to see all these 9 interfaces of a collection framework. So now we are going to see about all the 9 key interfaces of a Java collection framework. So what is the first interface? The first interface is collection itself. So when we should go for a collection? If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we should go for collection. That is point number 1. If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we should go for what? Then we should go for collection. So what is point number 2? The point number 2 is, so how many methods this collection interface defines? So this collection interface defines 12 methods which are common to all the collection objects. So these 12 methods can be applicable for all the collection objects. So that is, collection interface defines the most common methods, that is most common 12 methods which are applicable for any collection objects. Say for example, if I want to add a object into the collection, I can use add method. Next, if I want to remove a object from the collection, I can use remove method. If I want to know the size of a collection, I can use size method. So these are the most common methods which are applicable for all the collection objects. So there are totally 9 methods. So later we will see what are those 9 methods. Next, the third point. The third point is very controversial point. So what is the third point? The third point is, in general, collection interface is considered as root interface of collection framework. So in general, the collection interface is considered as what? Root interface of collection framework. So why it is controversial? So these are the 9 key interfaces of collection framework, right? But in reality, from collection till queue, collection acts as a root interface. Okay. For map, sorted map and navigable map, for all these 3 interfaces, map acts as a root interface. From collection till queue, collection is an interface. From map till navigable map, map is a root interface. But what is the point number 3? In general, collection interface is considered as a root interface of collection framework. So the experts are following this, even we will follow that. Okay, don't worry about that point. So before going to the next point, what is a collection? A collection is an interface. You can see in the bracket I have written I. So what I stands for? I stands for an interface. So for every interface there should be an implementation class. So what is the implementation class for collection interface? So that is the point number 4. So what is point number 4? What is the implementation class for collection interface? That is, there is no concrete class which implements collection interface directly. So what is the meaning of this statement? The meaning is very simple. No class directly implements collection interface. Indirectly they will implement collection interface. How they are going to implement the collection interface indirectly? That is also very simple. This collection interface will be having a child interfaces. For that child interfaces, there will be having a implementation class. So there is no direct implementation classes, but it has a indirect implementation class. So what is point number 4? Point number 4 is there is no concrete class which implements collection interfaces directly. So this collection interfaces will be having a sub interfaces or a child interfaces. For that child interfaces, it will be having a implementation class. Now we have to see what is the difference between collection and collections. So what we have to see the difference between collection and collections. So what is the difference between collection and collections? Only S is the difference, right? Only this S is the difference. So collection means singular, collections mean plural. Is that the difference? No, that is not the difference. So then what is the difference? So there is a major difference between a collection and a collections. So what is the major difference? Collection means an interface, whereas collections mean it is a class. Okay. So what collection means? Collection means it is an interface, whereas collections means it is a class. So what is a collection? Collection is an interface. When we should go for a collection? If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we should go for collection. So what is collections? Collections is a class. So what is collections? Collections is a utility class. Where it is present? It is present inside java.util package. Next, what it defines? It defines several utility methods for collection objects. Say for example, if I want to perform some searching operation, then I can make use of the utility methods which are there inside collections class. If I want to perform some sorting operation, I can make use of utility methods which are there inside collections class. So what is the difference between collection and collections? The collection is a interface, whereas collections is a class. So collection interface, when we should go for collection interface? If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity, then we should go for collection interface. So why collections class is required? Collection class is a utility class present inside java.util package. Next, it defines several utility methods for collection objects like sorting and searching, etc. So now we are going to see the second interface in collection framework. So what is the second interface? The second interface is list. So when we should go for the list interface? So if we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity where duplicate objects are allowed and insertion orders must be preserved, in that case we should go for list. So when we should go for list? Where duplicates are allowed and insertion order must be preserved, in that case we should go for list. So now we shall see the hierarchy for list. So this is the hierarchy for list. So list is a child interface of what? Collection. So list is a child interface of collections. So under list interface, what are all the implementation class? So we have array list. So array list is an implementation class. You can observe here, for interface I have written I. For implementation class I have not written anything. So if it is blank means it is an implementation class. Okay. So list is a child interface of collection. Next, list interface implementation classes are array list, linked list, vector. Under vector we have stack. Okay. Next, the collection was introduced in which version of Java? The collection was introduced in 1.2 version. List was introduced in 1.2 version. Array list was introduced in 1.2. Linked list was introduced in 1.2. Whereas this vectors and stack was introduced in 1.0. That is the first version of Java. Okay. Next, this vector and stack are also called as legacy classes. It is also called as legacy classes, which means it is a old generation classes because it was introduced in 1.0 version. Then you may have a doubt. Vector and stack was introduced in 1.0 version. The list was introduced in 1.2 version. How the vector and stack will come under list? You may have this doubt, right? Yes, the answer is very simple. In 1.2 version, the vector and stack classes are re-engineered. Okay. In 1.2 version, the vector and stack classes are re-engineered to come under list interface. Is it clear? Yes. So what is the first point? When we should go, what is a list? What is a list? List is a child interface of collection. So list is a child interface of collection. So when we should go for a list? If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity where duplicate objects are allowed and insertion order must be preserved. Where duplicates are allowed and insertion order must be preserved. In that case, we should go for what? List. Is it clear? When we should go for list? If we want duplicate objects to be allowed and insertion order must be preserved. In that case, we should go for a list collection. So the next interface is set interface. So when we should go for a set interface? When exactly we should go for a set interface? Before that, tell me, in a set, can we have a duplicate elements? A, B, C, A. A is duplicated. In a set, can we have a duplicated elements? In a mathematics, you have studied, right? In a set, can we have a duplicated elements? No. Set cannot have a duplicated elements. Duplicates are not allowed in a set. The next point is, what about these three sets? These three sets are same or different sets? ABC, CAB and BCA. Whether all these three sets are same or whether it is different. So all the three sets are same. So what is the meaning of this? In a set, insertion order is not required. So what is the second point? In a set, insertion order is not required. So when we should go for a set? If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity where duplicates are not allowed and insertion order is not required, then we should go for set interface. Is it clear? If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity where duplicates are not allowed and insertion order is not required, in that case we should go for a set. Okay. So now we shall see the hierarchy of set. So this is the hierarchy of set interface. So what is a set interface? Set interface is a child interface of collection interface. Next, a set interface has implementation class. What is the implementation class for the set interface? It is hash set. Next, this hash set has a subclass or a child class. What is the child class name? Linked hash set. So collection interface was introduced in 1.2 version of Java. Set was introduced in 1.2 version. Hash set in 1.2 version. And the linked hash set in 1.2 version. So what is the first point? The first point is set interface is a child interface of collection. So what is the second point? If we want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity where duplicates are not allowed and insertion order is not required, in that case we should go for set interface. So is it clear? So the next interface is sorted set. So sorted set is also a type of a set. Since it is a set, duplicates are not allowed. So it is also a sorted set. So what is the meaning of sorted set? Duplicates are not allowed and the objects are inserted according to some sorting order. Then we should go for sorted set. So now we shall see the complete hierarchy of sorted set. So this is the hierarchy of sorted set. So what is sorted set? It is a child interface of set. Okay. Sorted set is a child interface of set and it is introduced in version 1.2. So sorted set is a child interface of set. So what is the second point? When we should go for sorted set? If you want to represent a group of individual objects as a single entity where duplicates are not allowed. In sets, duplicates are not allowed. Next, objects should be inserted according to some sorting order. In sorted sets, objects should be inserted according to some sorting order. Then we should go for sorted sets. If duplicates are not allowed and the objects should be inserted according to some sorting order, then we should go for sorted set. Is this clear? Yes. So what is the next interface? The next interface is navigable set. So what is this navigable set? This navigable set is a child interface of sorted set. What is point number 1? Navigable set is a child interface of sorted set. In which version navigable set was introduced? The navigable set was introduced in Java 1.6 version. So what is the implementation class of navigable set? The implementation class of navigable set is tree set. Tree set was introduced in 1.2 version. Navigable set was introduced in 1.6 version. So you may have a doubt. So what is the answer for this? The answer is the tree set was re-engineered. That's it. The tree set was re-engineered to come under navigable set concept. So why navigable set is required? Navigable set is required to perform some navigation activities. So why it is required? It contains several methods for navigation purposes. So we will see what is navigable set later. Okay, we'll see what are the methods which is implemented by navigable set in the later part of the video. So just remember this, navigable set is a child interface of sorted set. Next, what is the implementation class for navigable set? Tree set. Next, in which version the navigable set was introduced? 1.6 version. Next, why navigable set is used? It contains several methods for navigation purposes. Now we have to see the differences between list and set. So what are the major differences between list and a set? In a list, duplicate objects are allowed, whereas in set, duplicate objects are not allowed. So what is the second difference? The second difference is, in list, insertion order is preserved, whereas in the case of set, insertion order is not preserved. So what is the first difference? The first difference is, in the case of list, duplicate objects are allowed. Duplicate objects are allowed, whereas in the case of set, duplicate objects are not allowed. So what is the second difference? In the case of list, insertion order is preserved. In whichever the order we have inserted the object, in the same order the object will be stored in the list. Whereas in the case of set, the insertion order is not preserved. Okay. So these two are the major differences between a list and a set. So the next interface is queue interface. So when we should go for a queue interface? So when we will stand in queue, in a real time, when we will stand in queue? For what reason we will stand in a queue? To get some services, we will stand in queue. For example, we'll stand queue in a big bazaar for some billing purposes. To get some services, we will stand in queue. When the object should stand in queue? The object should stand in queue before processing. For before processing, the object should stand in a queue. So now we will see the complete hierarchy of queue interface. So this is the hierarchy of queue interface. So what is queue interface? Queue interface is a child class of collection interface. So collection interface was introduced in Java 1.2 version, and queue interface and all its implementation classes was introduced in Java 1.5 version. So what are the implementation class for the queue interface? The first one is priority queue. The second one is blocking queue. Under blocking queue, we have a subclasses, that is priority blocking queue and linked blocking queue, and we have some more other implementation classes. So these are the main classes of a queue interface. Okay. So what is the first point? So what is a queue? Queue is a child interface of a collection. Next, why queue is required? If we want to represent a group of individual objects prior to processing. What do you mean by prior to processing? Before processing. So if we want to represent a group of individual objects prior to processing, then we should go for queue. So queue follows which order? Queue follows first in first out order. So usually queue follows first in first out order, but we can change the order based on the priority also. You can see here we are having priority queues. So based on the priority also we can process the objects. So but based on the requirement, we can implement our own priority also. Need not be first in first out. Based on the priority, we can implement our own priority order. Okay. So what is a queue interface? Queue interface is a child interface of collection interface, and queue interface was introduced in which version? It was introduced in Java 1.5 version. So what are the implementation classes for queue interface? Priority queue, blocking queue, and so on. Under blocking queue, we have priority blocking queue and linked blocking queue. Next, when we have to go for queue interface, if we want to represent a group of individual objects prior to processing, then we should go for queue. Prior to processing means before processing. If we want to place our objects in a some place or some buffer, then we should go for queue. Next, usually queue follows what? Usually queue follows first in first out order, but based on our requirement we can implement our own priority also. So until now we have covered how many interfaces? We have covered 6 interfaces. Can you recall what are the 6 interfaces we have covered? The first one is collection interface, next list, next set, sorted set, navigable set and queue. So we have covered collection, list, set, sorted set, navigable set and queue. So these interfaces are meant for representing what? These interfaces are meant for representing a group of individual objects. So collection, list, set, sorted set, navigable set and queue. All these 6 interfaces are meant for representing a group of individual objects. So this is note number 1. So my next requirement is I want to represent an object. I want to represent a group of an object as a key value pairs. I want to represent a group of individual objects as a key value pairs. Then what I should use? My next requirement is if we want to represent a group of objects as a key value pairs, then what I should use? Then we should make use of map interfaces. Then we should make use of map interface. Then we should go for map interface. How many types of maps are there? There are 3 types of maps: map, sorted map and navigable map. Okay, if we want to represent a group of objects as a key value pairs, then we should go for map. There are 3 types of maps: map, sorted map and navigable map. So the next interface is map interface. So when we should go for map? If we want to represent a group of object as a key value pairs, then we should go for map. So can you think of an example of a key value pair? An example is roll number and student name. Roll number and a name of a student. Next, what is the roll number? Roll number acts as a key. For example, 101 name ABC. Next, 102 name some DEF. Next, 103 name GHI. So here what is the key and what is the value? Roll number acts as a key and name acts as a value. So roll number is a key and name acts as a value. So if we want to represent a group of individual objects or a group of objects as a key value pair, then we should go for map interfaces. So here my next question is, can we have a duplicate keys? Can we have a duplicate keys? No, we cannot have a duplicate keys. Next, can we have a duplicate values? Can we have duplicate values? Yes, duplicate values are allowed. So what about this key and value? What type of variables are there? They are objects. Okay, both key and value are objects only. Is it clear? So now we have to see the complete hierarchy of map interface. So this is the hierarchy of map interface. You can see here, map interface is not a child interface of collections. Till now we have seen every interface was a child interface of collections, but here map interface is not a child interface of collections. Collection is a separate hierarchy and the map concept is a separate hierarchy. There is no connection between collections and map. Okay. So what are the direct implementation classes for a map interface? The direct implementation classes are hash map, weak hash map, identity hash map and hash table. So these 4 classes are the direct implementation classes of map interface. Next, hash map as a child class. So what is the child class of hash map class? That is linked hash map. Next, hash table as a parent class. So what is the parent class of hash table? That is dictionary. So this dictionary is an abstract class. AC stands for abstract class. Okay. Next, the child class of hash map is properties. So properties is a child class of hash map. So next, the map interface was introduced in Java 1.2 version, hash map in 1.2 version, weak hash map in 1.2, identity hash map in 1.4, linked hash map in 1.4 version, and this entire thing that is dictionary, hash table and properties was introduced in 1.0 version. So these classes were introduced in the first version of Java. So hence it is also called as legacy classes or old generation classes. So what is the first point with respect to the map? The first point is map is not a child interface of collections. Next, when we should go for a map, if we want to represent a group of object as a key value pairs, then we should go for a map concept. So what is the next point? The next point is both key and value. Both key and value are objects only. Okay. The next point is both key and values are objects only. So what is the next point? The next point is we cannot have a duplicate keys, but we can have a duplicate values. So the next point is duplicate keys are not allowed. We cannot have a duplicate keys, but values can be duplicated. Is this clear? When we should go for map concept? The next interface is sorted map. So now we are going to look at the complete hierarchy of sorted map. So this is the hierarchy of sorted map. The sorted map is a child interface of map, and sorted map is a parent interface of navigable map, and this navigable map has a implementation class. So what is the name of that implementation class? That is tree map. Okay. Next, the map interface was introduced in Java 1.2 version. Sorted map interface was introduced in Java 1.2 version. Navigable map was introduced in Java 1.6 version, and the tree map was introduced in 1.2 version. You may have a doubt, sir, here we are having navigable map in 1.6 version, but the tree map in 1.2 version. So what is the reason? The reason is the tree map is re-engineered to fit under navigable map. Okay. So what is the first point? Sorted map is a child interface of map. The sorted map is a child interface of map. Next, when we should go for a sorted map? If we want to represent a group of key value pairs according to the sorting order of keys, okay, according to the sorting order of keys, then we should go for sorted map. That is, if we want to represent a group of key value pairs according to the sorting order of keys, okay, then we should go for map concept, that is sorted map concept. Next, what is the next point? In sorted map, the sorting should be based on keys but not based on values. Okay, in the sorted map, the sorting should be based on the keys but not based on the values. So this is about sorted map. So what is the next interface in a collection framework? The next interface is navigable map. So the ninth interface is navigable map. So what is navigable map? Navigable map is a child interface of sorted map. So what is the first point? Navigable map is a child interface of sorted map. So what navigable map consists of? Navigable map defines several methods for navigation purpose. So what is the next point? It defines several methods for navigation purpose. So what is that navigation purpose? We'll see in the future videos. Okay. So this is the brief information about the 9 key interfaces in Java collection framework. So if you have any doubts, please contact me.